Good morning, boys and girls of the internet. How's everybody doing out there? So we're just gonna do a run through today, a speed tour, if you will, of what's going on. So this morning, it's about 9 now. Dad started putting a coolant temp sensor in the Maverick. This is an Austin Healey that will be maybe in a video later. I don't know, that's up to you guys. Car's been off the road for like a decade now. Fuel tank's sitting over there. Dad already pulled it out. But we're starting on this Honda Accord this morning. Dad's doing front shocks on it. I've climbed up here in the back. I'm doing the rear shocks or struts because it's a complete assembly. Customer came in last week. We advised him to go ahead and get a pair of 4. It's cheap. I mean, you can get these things online for pennies on the dollar compared to walking into a parts store. So we're doing this. My buddy Robert's leaving in an Escape. He's bringing that back before lunch. We're gonna put brake pads on it. We've got another Escape out there that, what'd you say was wrong with that one?
Got a vibration in it when it's idling, and on that road it's like maybe like a hiccup.
Okay.
So it could be transmission, it could be tune-up.
It is an Escape.
It is Escape.
It's a new Escape, and those are garbage.
I think you said 17 or something. I'm not 100% sure.
We're waiting on a shifter cable for the Pathfinder, and then that Jeep out there. What's wrong with the Jeep?
Got a noise under the hood.
Oh yeah, belt tensioner, we think. Anyway, that's what's going on, and at some point today, if we get to it, I'd like to run through the Avalanche and see if we can make the radio work. It is mysteriously quit, and the air conditioning needs service, but it's probably not happening today, even though it's hotter than balls outside already. So, rear struts, you got a 17 that runs through the knuckle on top. Fold the rear seat down. 2 ways you can do it. You can pop this corner piece out to give you some extra leverage, or if you can pry this cover out without doing it, you can just pop this off like I did on that side, and it gives you access to the 2 14mm bolts. So it comes out like that. See, can you guys get in there? You can, but you can't see anything. But there's the 2 bolts that you take out to remove that. Now, just in case, we might pop this seat cushion out just to give us a little more room to turn a wrench. With all the bolts out, gotta come up before it comes down. Probably gonna need a pry bar too. Installing the new shock now, strut. All right, up in here, hold on. Right in there is the bolt that holds the strut on. And for the original shock, it's got a welded tab. And the new ones don't. So you can reuse the bolt, but you have to go find a nut. I went through the pile of bolts and miscellaneous import nuts and stuff in the back, and I found 2 of these guys that are the same thread, and they've got the little, oh, that one's on the ground now, but it's got the little indentions in it that work like a lock when you tighten them down. So that's gonna work fine. We don't need a washer or anything on that. It's good to go. Passenger side rear is done. Everything's tightened down. Seats are back in, covers are back on. Got to put the wheels on. Sway bars and stuff are reattached on both sides. Voila. And back this girl out, move on to the next one. Alrighty, the Accord is done. And there's one more thing the customer wanted us to do. This is a new key for this car. Now, it is not cut, it is blank, as you can see, but we have his original key that is broken. He has it all taped together. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna swap the guts from our original key that has the chip in it and the metal cut portion into this new housing, so it will no longer be broke. Now, this is a lot easier to do than you would think. If you look on the back of your Honda key, there is a Phillips head spot right there, and that little screw comes out and it will remove the metal cut portion. So as long as your metal cut piece is still intact, you can remove it, place it into this new key, put the bolt back in it, swap the chip, and now you have an unbroken key. Like I said, we'll take apart the new one first. Get a small Phillips head. Don't strip that screw out. It'll be a pain in the tail. Get that thing out of there if you do. Do that, take our little flathead. You've got a notch right here in the side of the case. Put a screwdriver in it. And this is where you can pop it open. There we go. And then these guts come right out of there. And here is, this is part of the transponder in the center. See, and it works. Don't break any of the clips. Here is your key, and there you have it. The key is all put back together. It's not broke anymore. It doesn't wiggle, no flex. Good stuff. Snapped all back together. I'm gonna clean it up. Call this a win. Honda out. We'll escape in. So I don't know if you heard it when we pulled this car in, but it's got a rattle underneath. This is a 20 Ford Escape. This one has the little turbo engine in it. The Eco Blow, the 1.5. The exhaust noise, it's a rattle. It's probably a heat shield or a broken hanger. And then they said it feels like it's losing power going down the road. So we'll give it a test drive in a little bit and see what we think. But first, we'll fix the exhaust. Underneath this Escape, right here behind the cat, you've got this little spring here. And if you rotate it, you can listen. There's a flap inside here that opens and closes to divert air, and this car being the 1.5 turbocharged engine, as the turbo spools up and all that extra exhaust pressure and stuff shoots through, like I said, this is spring tension. It will push this up and let the exhaust flow even more. But anyway, we can't hear anything else rattling or vibrating under here, so I greased that up because it was sticking pretty good. And we're gonna set it back down on the ground, fire it up, let it run, and then one of us will take it through a drive cycle. I'm sitting in here with the car running. It acts like it's gonna stall periodically. The RPMs dip, the car shakes, and then it picks up. There it goes. It's not doing it as bad as it did when I first started it. So we're over here gonna run some diagnostics on it. This new scan tool is by diag tool. Just got it from them. Haven't even had a chance to really use it much yet. There'll be a link for this down in the comment section below, or the description box, if you want to check them out for yourself. But we're just waiting on it to do its thing, and then we'll check these codes, which is nothing illuminated, but you know, that doesn't mean a thing. It can still be riddled with codes. So here we go. We do have a powertrain control code. Crankcase ventilation system disconnected. Body control module, that stuff. Left low beam. Is our left low beam really out? Ah, we didn't know it. How about that? An audio codes. Audio. Those are still working. Something's working up there. The PCM code is for crankcase ventilation, so that's it. Everything else looks okay. I don't know if that would cause it to stall. We might need to drive it and see. So the one code that we have for that crankcase pressure, there's a service bulletin by Ford I just read on it, and they want you to change this entire tube up here and this sensor that's made into it, and that's the pressure sensor for this. And it says that this thing just isn't connected right anymore, but it's clearly connected. So anyway, we need to change these and reset it, go through the drive cycle and try it again. But that's where we are on that. Brakes are already done. My time lapse failed in the video I was trying to make, and Dad installed the new ignition switch piece that he wanted done. This guy right here. So, got that in. Brakes done. This one's out. Call him, tell him to come get it. And let's pull the Jeep in, move on to it. Also, finally got in touch with the Ford dealership, and they want 54 bucks, 26 cents for that tube on that Escape, the crankcase vent tube. So gotta have one. Got it ordered. It'll be in here in the morning, so that's a tomorrow job. But now let's move on to the little Jeep. Customer complaint on this one is some kind of driveline noise. Start it up. Shut it off. I believe the decoupler clutch right there on the end of the alternator is our culprit. And if you look at the front of the alternator, see all that brown dust? And that's not dust, that's rust. Metal particles that are being ripped apart and slung all over the casing. And then it mixes with moisture and makes them rust extremely fast. So if you don't see a tensioner failing immediately, or a idler pulley, which those are greased out, but I bet the noise in the alternator. Pull the belts off, spin the alternator by hand, verify the concern. Well, we just finished lunch. The customer is looking for a used alternator, and that's almost enough grounds to deny the repair. Putting a used alternator that uses a run-over clutch or a decoupler clutch, not a good idea. These Jeeps are pretty notorious, along with a lot of Chrysler products, for those alternators going bad. And I don't think it's worth your time putting a used one in it, but they do. So they might have to do it somewhere else if I don't feel like doing it. I hate installing used parts, especially common fail parts. So yeah, let's get this thing out of here, bring the Avalanche in. So on my Avalanche, pretty quickly we've determined my fan clutch in here wore out. You see how easy that spins, how it just kind of free spins? It should feel like you're trying to push through peanut butter. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but it should have the resistance of like peanut butter. You know what I mean. You know what I mean, damn it. Anyway, and this thing is just, it spins so easy. So our clutch is bad. Now the clutch keeps the truck cool. It also brings fresh, cool air through the condenser to make the air conditioning cold. And I noticed the truck getting warm sitting in traffic or towing my camper. Not overheating, but definitely getting warm. So without that extra airflow, you're definitely gonna get the truck too hot, and the air conditioning is not gonna work like it should. So before we dive into the AC, changing orifice tubes and all that stuff, I'm gonna put a fan clutch in it. We found the warranty information at O'Reilly's where it was purchased. Pull the air intake, pick the hose up, pop the upper shroud, knock it off with a 36 millimeter. So let's do it through the power of magic and editing. Here's our fan clutch. So let's go warranty this thing out, get a new one, put it back together so that I ain't gotta sweat all the way home. Also, thank you, if anybody remembers, somebody sent me this t-shirt years ago. Still wearing it. Somewhere out of Washington or Oregon is where this flight school is located. So if that was you, I appreciate it. If you want to send anything else, the P.O. box is in the description below. Going to get the parts in the Camry. This is when we had to check the timing chains and stuff on. This is one of our lot cars. And this thing is nice. Camrys and Corollas, some of the best investments you can make in the automotive world if you're just looking for a vanilla car that will take you back and forth to work forever. And faster than you can blink, I walked in there, took our old one, dropped it on the counter, picked up our new one that they already had on the counter, and we're off. Let's go put it in. Fan clutch is installed. Now let's move on to the interior and see if we can't make my radio work again. That decided to not work anymore. Sometimes it'll boot up the first portion of the start screen, but then it won't go any further than that. So you gotta turn the key on, pull the truck down into low gear, Tilt your steering column down. Grab this girl right here. Tug on it a little bit. Don't go breaking it, just give it a nice little tug. And there's our radio. I already broke that clip off fighting with it going down the road because I had a little bit of anger that day that it decided to quit. So now we can pop these other 2 screws out. I have to put a washer around that one to fix it. Let's see if it's a power wire issue or what's going on. So I don't know if the audio is still synced through that or not, but as you can clearly see, it's working now. We've got some cold air coming out of the vents. It's not as cold as I feel like it should be. I still think we might need to go back and change the orifice tube, flush the system, and recharge it, but it is working, especially better than it was. And the CarPlay works again, and the radio works. So for now, I don't know what I did. I took it out, took the fuse out, put the fuse back in it, put it back together, and it just magically decided to work. So let's see if it continues to work. There's a line across the top of the screen now. You can kind of see it through the phone emblem right there. I don't know if that's, I don't know, I don't remember that being there, but whatever. So just like that, we're headed home. I get to drive on this new stretch of highway that they've been paving on my commute. Makes it a pain because most of the time they've had one lane closed, and so it slows you down in the morning. Like that side hasn't been done yet over there, but this is the new side. One lane. But I've got air conditioning to sit in now, so that's beautiful. All right, folks, I'm getting off here. Thank you all for watching. Drop a comment down below. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. There we go. I got some peanut butter M&Ms calling my name, and then I got to go work out. Catch you in the next one.